the long game is no exception. Um, Films that I think, stories that I think should be told. Oh, Jeffrey, there's so many. There are so many, and they're slow. Like they're coming out of the woodwork. So one story that I really would love to see told is Freddie Fender's story. And I'm sure if Freddie Fender, he was a country western a star who's a Latino. He was also a veteran, and his story has yet to be told. I'm sure at some point it will be, but he's from San Benito, Texas. My father and my mother grew up in San Benito, Texas. My father knew his son, lent him a drum set. But he has such an impactful story. He has yet to be inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame. Now he's in the Country Music Museum, right? He's in there, but he is not in the Hall of Fame. And at least I don't think he is. And if he is, and things have changed, well, that's great. But his story is a powerful one. He went on to be a movie star as well. There's somebody else that you've had on your podcast that I think has a very interesting story, and his name, Danny Garcia. And I'm reading his book right now, and I think his story is a powerful, very powerful story. I mean, the guy is basically the Latino Forrest Gump. I mean, everything that he's done, walked around the world, 52 million steps, in the name of peace and in the name of children, for first responders and veterans. Everything that Danny's story is, those are the stories that need to be told. I'm reading his book right now, and I told him, I read the first part of it, and I said, Danny, you have gone through so much in your life, and I'm reading this book, and it's got me on the edge of my seat, and I'm thinking, I see where this is going, and I don't want it to go there, but I so desperately want it to go there, because that's an interesting story. Telling the truth in stories is important, right? We can dramatize things all we want, but stories, real people's stories, are dramatic enough, I think. Danny's story is no exception. Danny he's a great human being. And if you haven't read his book, Marines Don't Cry, I'd recommend it, because the things that Danny has gone through, you'll be wanting it you'll be wanting to see it on the big screen or on the small screen, if that's what you prefer. But representation is so important in telling these stories. Gosh, I could go on and on about what stories I would love to see told.
Let's just pause there real quick, because you hit on something really important, John. And I want folks to understand this, because this is going back to your identity crisis. And am I from Mexico? Am I from America? That is an American story, which you just described right now. Danny Garcia, American, Christian, veteran. What more do you want, right? And so I think we need to take a step back as a society to understand these are American stories. These are Americans. Like, stop putting them in a box. They are the mainstream. We are the mainstream. We are the majority. So that is a crucial American story, to your point about Danny Garcia here. No one just gets up and just walks by faith 52 million steps for world peace because, it hit them with the Holy Spirit. And so I think that's a very important thing that you just hit on there. That's Roy Benavides is very more. And then the gentleman you said, the country, was it Freddie what?
Freddie Fender.
Freddie Fender. That's an American story. These are Americans. Mm-hmm. Like, that is what I want to hit here. These are Americans here. And I think folks need to stop categorizing or labeling them or putting them as some other category here. These are Americans here, God-fearing Americans. And folks need to start embracing that, because representation matters. But these are Americans, because every time I hear from, say, Americano, it's like, well, they think of just one category. It's like, no. These are all Americans here. We've all contributed to the fight here, and we all want a more peaceful